Women. Enigmatic, beguiling, and often likened to puzzles with missing pieces. Many a man has spent his life stumbling through the maze, searching for the elusive ideal mate, only to discover he's been chasing shadows cast by his own misconceptions. You see, the problem isn't that women are inherently complicated. It's that far too many men insist on treating them like celestial beings perched on some unattainable pedestal. This blind adoration, this insistence on viewing women as divine queens or goddesses has led to a great deal of heartache and folly. Men tie themselves into knots, trying to appease and impress, forgetting that women, at their core, are human, flawed, layered, and wonderfully ordinary. The pedestal, my dear friend, is no place for anyone to reside. But fret not. Today, we'll unravel some of the myths, sift through the misconceptions, and confront the harsh truths about women that most men only realize far too late. Brace yourself, for this may sting a little. What follows isn't meant to shatter your beliefs, but to rebuild them on firmer ground. Let's take a good, honest look at what you've been getting wrong, because clarity, after all, is the first step to wisdom. 1. Women hate weakness. Gentlemen, let's get one thing straight from the outset. If you believe that baring your soul to a woman will earn you admiration and undying respect, you're in for a rude awakening. Women, for all their grace and charm, have little patience for weakness in men. And who could blame them? The world is a stormy sea, and no sailor worth his salt wants to entrust the helm to someone who can't hold steady in rough waters. From the earliest days of courtship, men are often cast as the steadfast oak, unwavering, dependable, and yes, sometimes a little inscrutable. Women may say they want you to share your innermost fears and insecurities, but deep down, they're drawn to strength like moths to a flame. That strength is what ignites desire, what fosters respect, and what gives the relationship its backbone. But here's the kicker. The moment you start revealing the cracks in your armor, the game changes. Oh, she may nod sympathetically, assuring you that it's perfectly fine to be vulnerable. But behind those kind eyes, a subtle shift begins. Respect, like sand through an hourglass, starts slipping away. You've shown her the engine room, the wires and cogs that make you tick, and now she knows the limits of your strength. Worse yet, she knows where your weak points lie. And trust me, this knowledge doesn't bring her closer, it pushes her away. The truth is, women want to feel secure in a relationship. They're looking for a partner who can stand firm when the tides rise, not someone they have to rescue from the waves. And when a man hands over the reins, when he allows his partner to take control, the relationship tends to veer off course. It's not malice, it's human nature. Women thrive on stability, but they don't want to be the sole providers of it. So what's a man to do? Save those raw, unfiltered emotions for your trusted male confidants. Talk to the men who've walked the same paths and weathered the same storms. They'll offer you advice rooted in logic and experience, not sentimentality. By keeping your composure and reserving your vulnerability for the right audience, you preserve the respect and admiration that form the bedrock of a healthy relationship. The world is no place for the faint-hearted, my friend, and relationships are no exception. Keep your strength close, your resolve firm, and your secrets safer than a bank vault. After all, a man who commands respect doesn't need to demand it. It's given freely. 2. Women need to feel secure and cared for. Now, let's wade into the deep waters of truth, where most men flounder about like hapless fish gasping for air. Women, for all their modern-day independence and proclamations of self-sufficiency, still have a fundamental desire that has echoed through the halls of human history: security. Yes, my dear friend, she may wield a briefcase with the aplomb of a Wall Street titan, or stride through life like a conquering queen, but beneath it all, there remains a quiet yearning to feel protected, provided for, and cared for. Modernity has done a curious thing. It's taught men to believe that women can take care of everything, including them. And while there's truth to the notion that women have ascended to remarkable heights, this societal shift hasn't eradicated their ancient need for a partner who can shoulder some weight. It's not about her lacking capability. It's about the comfort of knowing she doesn't have to bear the burdens alone. You see, gentlemen, a woman craves 3 pillars in a relationship: protection, provision, and a constant profession of love. The first 2 are practical, the last one poetic. But here's the twist that turns the dance in your favor. If you excel at the first 2, she'll chase the third. That's right, she'll be the one vying for your affection, eager to hear those sweet nothings whispered in her ear. But let's not stop there. This need for security runs deeper than a simple desire to feel safe. It's also a test. Women, whether they admit it or not, are connoisseurs of character. They'll poke, prod, and press to see if you're truly made of the stuff that can weather the storms of life. If you falter, if your ship shows signs of sinking, she'll start scanning the horizon for sturdier vessels. The remedy, my friend, is simple, though not easy. You must first build a life of substance. It doesn't matter whether you're planting orchards or launching rockets. What matters is that you do something, accomplish, create, conquer. The specifics are less important than the fact that you become a man of action, a man with a purpose. This, more than any flowery confession or grand romantic gesture, will capture her respect and devotion. And here's the most painful truth. Until you have your foundation set, until you're standing tall as the architect of your own life, you may need to sideline the pursuit of women. Focus on your goals, on your growth, on becoming a man who can provide not just a living, but a life worth sharing. Once you've carved out your place in the world, you won't need to chase women. They'll recognize the strength and security you offer and come to you. So, gents, take this as a call to arms, or perhaps a call to hammer and chisel. Build yourself into the kind of man who inspires confidence, not just in women, but in yourself. Because when you do, you'll find that the game changes entirely. 3. Women hate people pleasers. The ever-persistent nice guy, forever eager to please, perpetually apologizing for his very existence. Let me tell you, if you've been laboring under the delusion that this makes you more attractive to women, it's time for a reality check. Women, bless their contradictory hearts, despise people pleasers. That's right. Every over-apologized misstep, every over-the-top gesture to win her favor only serves to drain her respect faster than a leaky bucket in a rainstorm. You see, there's a certain charm in being a man who knows when to say no. It's not about being disagreeable for the sake of it. It's about having a spine, a principle, a line you won't cross just to avoid conflict. Women respect men who stand firm, even if it ruffles a few feathers. Now compare that to the yes man who bends over backward to keep the peace. To her, he's not accommodating, he's spineless. And spinelessness, my friend, is the quickest way to extinguish a woman's interest. Now, don't misunderstand me. I'm not suggesting you morph into some swaggering caricature of a bad boy. You don't need a motorcycle or a leather jacket to capture her attention. What you need is balance, confidence without arrogance, strength without cruelty. Be the kind of man who can call her out, not to belittle, but to challenge. She doesn't want a servant. She wants a partner. The lesson here is simple. Stop trying to save the day. Women are perfectly capable of solving their own problems. Your job is not to be her superhero. It's to be her equal. That means letting her navigate her challenges while you focus on your own. If you're constantly rescuing her, she'll never respect you. Worse yet, she'll grow bored. 4. Women are not princesses in bubble wrap. Now, let's address a particularly pernicious myth, the idea that women are fragile, porcelain creatures who must be swaddled in bubble wrap and kept on a pedestal. Some men, in their misguided admiration, treat women as though they're made of spun glass. They tiptoe around them, afraid to offend, to challenge, to even make the first move. And in doing so, they shoot themselves squarely in the foot. Here's the truth. Women don't want to be worshipped. They want to be respected. That means treating her as your equal, not your superior. Yes, she deserves care and consideration, but only in proportion to the effort she invests in the relationship. Respect is earned, not bestowed. This principle extends to every corner of your relationship, even the more intimate ones. Don't hold back out of fear of being too bold. Women appreciate a man who's fully present, fully invested, and unafraid to take the lead. Of course, let's not venture too far into outlandish fantasy territory, but within reason, confidence and passion are your allies. At the end of the day, women are looking for someone to walk beside them, not someone to shield them from life. Take her off the pedestal, treat her with earned respect, and watch as she rises to meet you. That's the secret to building a relationship that stands the test of time. 5. Boundaries are very important. Gentlemen, let me offer you a piece of wisdom as enduring as the Mississippi River. Boundaries are not just fences for your cattle. They are the bedrock of any self-respecting man's life. Women, for all their charm and mystique, have an uncanny knack for testing these boundaries. But here's the twist. They don't test them to break them. They test them to make sure they exist. Far too many men, the moment they catch a glimmer of female attention, toss their principles into the wind like a gambler betting his last dollar. Suddenly, they're available at all hours, bending over backward and agreeing to things that make them cringe inside. And what happens next? They lose themselves, and worse, they lose her respect. A man without boundaries is like a ship without a rudder, aimless and bound to crash. Now, boundaries aren't about barking orders or laying down ultimatums. They're about knowing who you are and what you stand for. If she's wasting your time with unnecessary drama, it's your job to let her know, kindly but firmly. If you're focused on your work or your purpose during a certain time of day, make that non-negotiable. She might grumble at first, but deep down, she'll admire your discipline and your dedication. Here's the irony. When you stand firm, she'll chase harder. That's the paradox of attraction. A woman who knows her man values his goals and purpose will want to be part of that world, not the entirety of it. And when she does get your time, it will mean so much more because she knows it's not given lightly. But be careful. There's a fine line between setting boundaries and playing games. Don't manufacture distance just to make her long for you. When you're unavailable, make sure it's for a solid reason, one that genuinely serves your growth and your future. In the end, boundaries aren't just a tool to keep a relationship intact. They're a statement of self-respect. And a man who respects himself is a man women can't help but respect in return. 6. Tests will come thick and fast. Now, fellas, let's talk about something as certain as the tides. The tests women will throw your way. These aren't your schoolhouse quizzes. They're cunning, unpredictable, and designed to probe every inch of your character. The sharper your boundaries, the better prepared you'll be. But don't think for a moment you can dodge them altogether. Women test for one reason: to find the cracks in your armor. It's not malicious, though it might feel that way. It's instinct. Deep down, she needs to know that the man standing beside her is steady, unshaken, and can weather whatever storm life brews. But here's the catch. The more she tests, the closer she feels to unraveling your mystery. And once she believes she's solved the puzzle, the spark often fizzles out. You'll recognize these tests by their emotional charge. She might stir up an argument over nothing or demand a reaction to something trivial. The unwise man steps right into the snare, defending himself or trying to soothe her agitation. Don't be that man. When emotions run high, let her play her hand without you at the table. Retreat gracefully, not out of fear, but out of wisdom. You're not there to wrestle over emotions. You're there to lead with clarity and resolve. Here's the golden rule. Only engage with tests that matter. Life's too short to get tangled in every little game she sets before you. If the challenge threatens your values, your purpose, or the relationship itself, then by all means, stand your ground. But for the petty tests, disengage. Silence, after all, is often the loudest answer. Remember, the stronger you are in your frame, the less effective these tests become. And when she sees you can't be toppled, that's when true respect takes root. A man who stands firm in the storm doesn't just pass the test, he rewrites the rules. 7. She's always seeking a better partner. Now, here's a truth that'll sting if you let it. Women are always on the lookout for an upgrade. Call it nature's way or plain old practicality. But deep down, she's scanning the horizon for a man who's stronger, smarter, wealthier, or simply more capable. It's not cruelty, it's instinct, rooted in survival and the pursuit of comfort. You see, her heart may belong to you today, but her biology whispers a different tune. She's wired to seek the best partner for her future and her children's future. As harsh as it sounds, this doesn't mean she'll leave at the first sign of trouble, but it does mean you must never stop being a man of value. Grow, adapt, and improve, not just for her, but for yourself. The mistake most men make is clinging to their insecurities. They fret over every glance she gives another man or spiral into despair, imagining her walking away. This mindset, gentlemen, is a self-fulfilling prophecy. Instead of worrying about losing her, focus on being the kind of man she couldn't imagine leaving. A man of purpose, strength, and unshakable confidence. And let me tell you, something older men know like the back of their hand. Life experience is your greatest ally. It's the secret weapon younger men don't yet have. Use your wisdom, your scars, and your lessons learned to command the respect and admiration she craves. When you live with purpose and refuse to settle for mediocrity, the question isn't whether she'll find a better man. It's whether such a man even exists. Well, gentlemen, there you have it. 7 truths about women that might have rattled your cage, or at the very least, knocked a little dust off your thinking cap. Now, before you go clutching your chest and blaming me for your newfound existential crisis, let me remind you, knowledge is a tool, not a weapon. Use it wisely. Women, as perplexing as they might seem, aren't here to ruin your life. They're here to make it interesting. It's your job to rise to the occasion, keep your spine straight, and maybe, just maybe, outwit them once in a while. The trick is to play the game without losing your head or your wallet. So take what you've learned today and put it to good use. And remember, life's too short to grovel, too long to waste, and too beautiful to spend it trying to figure out what she meant by fine. Now, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It'll make me feel loved, which is rare for a man in my line of work. Until next time, keep your wits sharp, your boundaries firm, and for heaven's sake, stop saying sorry when you didn't do a thing wrong. See you soon.